Picture it. A New York socialite, 22 years old, prepares for a party. She has a problem. The whalebone stays of her corset keep poking through the sheer silk of her evening gown. She asks her seamstress to help. Together, they fashion a garment from 2 silk handkerchiefs and a ribbon. What they make that night will later be called, in popular memory, the invention of the bra. The story is almost true. The year was 1914. The socialite was Mary Phelps Jacob. She did make the garment from handkerchiefs. She did receive U.S. patent number 1116674 on November 3, 1914. But here is what the popular version gets wrong. The bra was not invented. It emerged slowly across decades and continents from a long rebellion against garments that had grown so elaborate, so political, and so restrictive that something had to give. Mary Phelps. Jacob did not invent a new piece of clothing. She patched a very old problem, and the problem is much older than she is. By the end of this episode, you will know exactly why the corset disappeared, why the bra replaced it, and why almost everything you have been told about who invented which part of it is incomplete. The garment you put on this morning has a stranger history than the patent office suggests. The story most people know has a shape. Women wore corsets. The corsets were torture. Then a clever socialite invented the bra, and women were freed. That story survives because it is clean, because it has a single inventor and a single moment of liberation, and because Mary Phelps Jacob, who later became the publisher Corset Crosby, has the kind of biography that fits on a trading card. The trouble is that the story is a collage, not a history. The corset was not one garment. It was a family of garments that changed names, materials, and meanings every century or two. And the bra, the supposed opposite of the corset, was not invented once. It was reinvented several times by women with very different motives, in different countries, and sometimes for reasons that had nothing to do with comfort. The clean story survives because it borrows the visual shorthand of period drama. Every costume film with a waist-whittling bodice reinforces the same image: a uniform, near-universal torture garment worn by all women until the 20th century rescued them. The reality is messier and older and more interesting. To see it, you have to go back further than 1914, much further. And you have to look at what the corset actually was, not what the costume department says it was. In 1889, the same year the Eiffel Tower opened for the Paris World's Fair, a French corseteer named Herminie Cadolle exhibited something new in her pavilion. She had taken a rigid corset, cut it in half, kept the lower portion as a girdle, and suspended the upper portion from the shoulders. She called the result the corselet-gorge. It is the architectural blueprint of every modern bra. She patented it that year. By 1905, she was selling the upper half separately, and she called it the soutien-gorge, which is still the French word for bra today. Cadolle was not a fashion figure, she was a political one. She had been a friend of Louise Michel, the anarchist who led the Paris Commune of 1871. After the Commune fell, Cadolle and her family fled France for their safety and rebuilt their lives in Buenos Aires before returning. Her bra was not a fashion product. It was the work of a communard exile who had watched what physical restraint cost the body and decided to redesign the cage. A decade later, in 1899, a teacher and masseuse named Christine Hardt registered the first German patent for a brassiere. Her stated motive was the same as Cadolle's: free the body from the corset. The American company de Beauvois later used the word brassiere in advertising copy for its corset covers, building on a marketing tradition that traced back to the early 1890s. By the time Mary Phelps Jacob cut 2 silk handkerchiefs together in 1914, the bra had already been a commercial product in France for 25 years and in Germany for 15. Jacob gets the credit because her patent was the first to use the word brassiere in a US filing, and because her life after the bra became more interesting than the bra itself. She sold the patent to the Warner Brothers Corset Company, not the film studio, for $1,500, roughly $45,000 in today's money. She used the money to move to Paris and start Black Sun Press, where she became the publisher of Hemingway, Anais Nin, Henry Miller, and Charles Bukowski. Time magazine would later call her the literary godmother of the lost generation. None of that helps you understand the bra. It just helps you remember her name. If the bra had earlier claimants, so did the corset. The word corset itself only entered common use in the early 19th century. Before that, the garment had other names, and those names tell you what the garment was actually doing. In Tudor and Elizabethan England, women wore the pair of bodies. It started out unboned, a stiffened bodice for posture and modesty, and only at the very end of the 1600s did whalebone channels appear. The earliest European written reference comes from 1579, when the printer Henri Estienne recorded that ladies called their whalebone their stay, which they put under their breast, right in the middle. The Elizabethan ideal was a flat-lifted conical bust, not a tiny waist. Queen Elizabeth III's own effigy, preserved after her death in 1603, shows a bone bodice designed to hold the chest up and forward, not compress it inward. By the 17th and 18th centuries, the garment was called stays, fully boned with vertical channels of whalebone, and after 1828, with metal eyelets for lacing, stays did compress the torso. They also did something else. They made the wearer stand, sit, and move in a specific way. They were a posture technology, and they encoded social rank. A working-class woman wore jumps, the informal home version without boning. An aristocrat wore stays reinforced with steel. The garment announced who you were before you spoke. Across the world, similar solutions appeared for the same problem. In Ming Dynasty China, courtly women wore the dudou, a chest-binding garment designed to flatten the bust. The same flat-chested aesthetic later embraced by 1920s flappers in New York. At the Villa Romana del Casale in Sicily, a mosaic from the early 4th century shows women in athletic games wearing a strophium, a linen breastband that looks, to modern eyes, very much like a sports bra. Archaeologists date the mosaic to the early 4th century based on stylistic and contextual evidence. It is real, and it is older than any boned corset. The popular image of one universal corset, worn everywhere and always, is itself a kind of historical costume. Different cultures, different classes, and different centuries wore different things, called them different names, and aimed them at different parts of the body. So why did the corset fall? Not because Mary Phelps Jacob invented a better garment. The structures women wore had become too restrictive for the life they were being asked to live. The medical critique had been building for a century. The Royal College of Surgeons in London holds actual deformed ribcage specimens from late 19th century tight lacing. The Lancet published case reports through the 1890s and 1900s, including one in 1890 titled Death from Tight Lacing, and another in 1909 called Civilization and the Corset. A 1952 Lancet article correlated the disappearance of chlorosis, a form of iron deficiency anemia, with the abandonment of tight lacing. The worst stories about the corset are not invented. They are documented at the extreme. What is exaggerated is the idea that every corset worn daily did this. Modern reconstructions by historical costumers show that a well-fitted, properly laced Victorian corset functioned more like a piece of light orthopedic equipment than a torture device. Most of the dramatic fainting scenes in period accounts probably came from dehydration, hours of dancing in overheated rooms, and formal corsets reserved for special occasions. But the politics did not need the medical argument to win. In 1917, the U.S. War Industries Board, chaired by Bernard Baruch, formally asked American women to stop buying corsets. The steel could be redirected to ammunition and shipbuilding. According to Smithsonian Magazine, the appeal freed approximately 28,000 tons of metal. The bra had been gaining ground for nearly 30 years. the war finished the argument. And here is the strangest turn. The bra that replaced the corset was not designed to support the chest. The dominant bra of the 1920s was the Symington side lacer, a side-lacing elasticized bandeau whose entire purpose was to flatten the bust. The flapper ideal was boyish and androgynous. Women were binding their chests again in a new garment for a new aesthetic. The bra had replaced one form of restraint with another. One company, Maidenform, founded in 1922 by the Belarusian-born dressmaker Ida Rosenthal, initially sold a one-size bandeau. It did not fit real women. Rosenthal introduced standardized cup sizing, A through D, and later the first dedicated maternity bra. By 1960, an estimated 30% of American women owned a Maidenform bra, sold in 115 countries. The bra as we know it is largely her invention. The dress Mary Phelps Jacob was trying to save that night in 1914 was not really a dress. It was the last layer of a system that had been wrapping, binding, lifting, and compressing women's bodies for centuries. She reached for 2 handkerchiefs and a ribbon. What she actually reached for was the end of a very long argument about what a woman's body was for. The bra was not invented to liberate women. It was invented because the structures worn before it had become too restrictive for the world women were trying to live in. The corset fell not because a single clever socialite solved it, but because the garment had run out of room to compress without damaging the body inside it. The bra rose in its place because someone, somewhere, kept trying to make the cage smaller, and someone else kept cutting it in half. The story you have just heard is older than the Patent Office, older than New York, and older than the Eiffel Tower. The garment you put on this morning was not invented once. It was won, piece by piece, by women who refused to wear what they were told. What part of this story surprised you the most? Tell us in the comments. And if you enjoy uncovering the real origins behind familiar things, leave a like and subscribe to the Origin Portal.